Did you know that the method you choose to cook your food can drastically change its taste, texture, and even its nutritional content? Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of cooking methods. We'll explore the science and art behind 14 different techniques, each with its unique impact on your dishes. From frying to deglazing, each method has its place in the culinary world, complementing particular ingredients and dishes. Stick around to learn about each of these methods and how to best utilize them in your kitchen. First up, we have frying and grilling, two of the most common cooking methods. Let's dive into the sizzling world of frying first. Frying is a method that cooks food in hot fat or oil. It's a quick and versatile method that brings out a lovely golden color and crisp texture in foods. From crispy fried chicken to delicate tempura, frying is a go-to method for a wide variety of dishes. Now, there are two main types of frying: shallow frying and deep frying. Shallow frying uses less oil and is often used for foods like eggs, pancakes, or fish. Deep frying, on the other hand, completely submerges the food in hot oil, making it ideal for foods like fries or donuts. Moving on to grilling, this method cooks food by applying heat directly from below. It's a great way to infuse your food with a smoky flavor and beautiful grill marks. Typical grilled foods include steaks, burgers, and vegetables. There's something about that charred exterior and juicy interior that just screams delicious. To grill, you'll need a grill, either gas or charcoal, or a grill pan if you're cooking indoors. Remember to preheat your grill before cooking to ensure even heat distribution and to help prevent your food from sticking. Remember, frying and grilling can add a fantastic crunch and char to your food, but use them wisely to avoid adding too much fat or burning your food. Scene script. Next on the list are roasting and steaming, methods that can bring out the natural flavors in your food. Let's start with roasting. It's a dry heat cooking method that uses hot air to cook food. It's an excellent way to cook larger cuts of meat or whole poultry. Roasting allows the food's natural sugars to caramelize, resulting in a rich brown exterior and a juicy, flavorful interior. The process might be slow, but the reward is worth every minute. You don't need much for roasting, just an oven, a roasting pan, and a rack to allow the heat to circulate evenly. Now, let's steam ahead to our next method. Steaming is a moist heat cooking technique that uses hot steam to conduct the heat. This method is perfect for delicate items like fish, shellfish, and vegetables. The steam gently cooks the food, preserving its natural color, texture, and most importantly, the nutrients. For steaming, you'll need a pot with a tight-fitting lid and a steamer basket or insert. Both methods, roasting and steaming, have their unique advantages. Roasting brings out the deep, rich flavors, while steaming preserves the food's natural taste and keeps the nutrients intact. Choosing between roasting and steaming can depend on the type of food you're cooking, the texture you desire, and the flavors you want to highlight. So the next time you're in the kitchen, remember these two methods. Roasting and steaming are great for preserving nutrients and enhancing flavors, so don't overlook these methods in your cooking repertoire. Now, let's dive into boiling, braising, and stewing methods that are all about slow, gentle cooking. First up, boiling. As simple as it sounds, boiling is a method where food is submerged in a liquid, usually water, that's heated to its boiling point, about 212 degrees Fahrenheit. It's a great method for cooking pasta, eggs, or vegetables. Boiling is straightforward, and you don't need any special equipment, just a pot and a heat source. Next, we have braising. This method involves two steps. First, you sear the food at a high temperature, then you finish it off in a covered pot at a lower temperature, while sitting in some amount of liquid, which adds moisture. Braising is perfect for tougher cuts of meat, as the slow cooking process tenderizes the meat and the liquid creates a delicious sauce. You'll need a heavy pot with a tight-fitting lid for this method. Lastly, let's talk about stewing. Similar to braising, stewing also involves slow cooking in liquid, but in this case, the food is fully submerged. The low and slow approach results in tender meat and vegetables, with the liquid serving as a flavorful broth. Stews are comforting dishes that are great for making in large batches. For stewing, you'll need a large pot or a slow cooker. Boiling, braising, and stewing are not about speed, but rather about patience and care. They allow flavors to meld and develop over time, resulting in dishes that are rich, comforting, and deeply satisfying. These methods are about taking your time to create something wonderful. They require minimal equipment, a pot, a stove, and perhaps a slow cooker. And while these methods might be slower, they're not labor-intensive. Once everything's in the pot, you can usually leave it to cook, freeing you up to do other things. So, don't be deterred by the longer cooking times. Embrace these methods, and you'll be rewarded with meals that are bursting with flavor and tenderness. Boiling, braising, and stewing might take a bit longer, but the tender, flavorful results are worth the wait. Moving on to poaching, sautéing, and stir-frying, 3 methods that require a bit more finesse. Firstly, let's talk about poaching. This gentle cooking technique is ideal for delicate foods like eggs and fish. It involves submerging the food in a liquid, usually water, broth, or wine, heated to just below boiling point. The key here is low and slow. The liquid should be barely bubbling to prevent the food from falling apart. Poaching creates tender, moist dishes and allows you to infuse your food with the flavors of the poaching liquid. Next up is sautéing, a quick and straightforward method that's perfect for small pieces of meat or vegetables. The term sautéing comes from the French word for jump, which describes how the food should move in the pan. You'll need a bit of fat like oil or butter and a hot pan. The food is cooked quickly, keeping the outside crispy and the inside tender. Sautéing is a great way to seal in flavors and create a delicious golden brown exterior. And lastly, we have stir-frying. This method is a staple in Asian cuisine, known for its speed and the vibrant flavors it produces. Like sautéing, stir-frying requires a hot pan and a small amount of fat. But the food is constantly stirred or tossed to ensure even cooking. This method is ideal for cooking a mix of ingredients, like in a stir-fry dish, where the rapid cooking helps retain the ingredients' color, crunch, and nutrients. For all 3 methods, it's essential to have the right equipment: a deep pan or pot for poaching, a sauté pan with sloping sides for sautéing, and a wok or large skillet for stir-frying. And always remember, control your heat. Too hot and your food can burn or toughen. Too cool and your food may stew in its juices, losing that ideal texture we're striving for. Poaching, sautéing, and stir-frying can help you achieve delicate flavors and textures, but remember to keep an eye on your heat levels. Last but not least, we have broiling, searing, deglazing, and blanching techniques that can take your cooking to the next level. First up, we have broiling. This is a method that uses high direct heat to cook food quickly. It's a lot like grilling, but the heat comes from above rather than below. You'll find it's perfect for cooking thin cuts of meat, fish, or even vegetables. What's great is you don't need any special equipment, just an oven with a broil setting and a broiling pan. Next, let's talk searing. This is all about creating that delicious caramelized crust on your food. It's achieved by cooking at high temperatures to brown the surface, sealing in the juices and flavors. Searing is typically used for meats like steaks or roasts. For this, you'll need a good, heavy skillet that retains heat well. Now, on to deglazing. Ever cooked a piece of meat and noticed those brown bits stuck to the bottom of the pan? That's called fond, and it's packed full of flavor. Deglazing is the process of adding a liquid like wine or broth to the hot pan and scraping up those tasty morsels. This technique is often used in making sauces or gravies, and it can turn a good dish into a great one. Finally, we have blanching. This method involves briefly submerging food in boiling water, then immediately plunging it into ice water. It's a fantastic way to preserve the color, texture, and nutrients of vegetables. It's also a handy trick for peeling tomatoes or peaches. For blanching, all you need is a pot of boiling water, a bowl of ice water, and a slotted spoon. Broiling, searing, deglazing, and blanching may sound intimidating, but with a bit of practice, you'll be acing these techniques in no time. So, don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone and try something new. Remember, the key to great cooking is experimentation. After all, the kitchen is your playground. Happy cooking! Now that we've covered all these cooking methods, let's quickly summarize what we've learned. From the high heat of frying and grilling, the gentle warmth of steaming and poaching, to the transformative power of braising and stewing, each method offers distinct flavors and textures. Sautéing, stir-frying, and broiling are all about quick, intense heat, while searing, deglazing, and blanching each have their unique roles in enhancing our dishes. Remember, the best chefs are those who know how to use a variety of cooking methods. So don't be afraid to experiment and find what works best for your dishes. Happy cooking!